people, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. And I'm here again. I've got my cousin here. You might have met her before, Funke Majekodumi of the famous house of Magic.
Oh my God! You make me sound like someone from the King of Thrones. Sorry, from the Game of Thrones, from the famous house of.
Her, she's a descendant of one of our founding fathers of Nigeria. Her ancestor, her recent ancestor, was the Minister of Health, and he was also the governor of the Western region of Nigeria. I mean, you didn't know me.
Well, you know what? All well and good. I just wish the generational wealth reached me. So all that one I tied to.
You was going to generational wealth. Anyway, so that's my cousin Funke Majo, and it's not like cousin of African cousin because we come from the same village. No, this is cousin as in we share ancestors, not her Majekodumi side ancestors, her mother side ancestors. We share ancestors. So, I wanted to talk today about meeting your parents in an uncomfortable position. No. Because it almost happened to me some time ago when Toby said he was going away and he came back like a day earlier than he was going to come back. And I was in my room. I don't bring men here to sleep. I was in my room and I had I was listening to music. My AirPods were on and I was really dancing. And I didn't hear him enter. And I didn't hear him. I think he was doing, I don't know. I didn't hear the door open. And then the next thing he was in my room. I was like, Toby scared me. I was like, Toby, be knocking. Be knocking. Yes, he did knock. I said, Toby, be knocking. What if I had a man here and, and was like, why would you bring a man to a home you are sharing with your grown son?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I was like, hello, I have a life. I'm still in my prime of life.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy.
So he was like, I'm sure you won't do that, Mom. I'm sure you will not bring a man to come and get up to all sorts here, knowing that you live with your son. But I was just thinking, what if that was the case? What if?
No, I said that's his thought process on that is quite interesting, but okay. But I get it, nobody wants to even think of their mom doing anything, I'm sure.
Exactly. Nobody wants to see their parents in that light. Nobody wants to see their parents in that light. And that brings me to my father's foolish girlfriend that made sure I saw my father at least in that light. Actually, when I was very young, when I was about 7 or 8, I went into my parents' room without knocking. And my mom's leg was like, and my father's head was like.
You get it?
So my dad,
wow. So your dad gives cunnilingus.
Yeah.
They even know what cunnilingus is, those people.
No, we discovered it. No, it's we that discovered it. So my dad said, and they were so calm about it. They were not like, I give them kudos for that, because if it was me, I would be like, My father just
that's because they probably think that's because they probably think you don't know what it is. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like you don't know what's going on because you were so young.
Okay, right? If a 7-year-old or 6-year-old came in and saw me, I would be like, But they were just calm about it. My mother didn't even put her leg down. My father just lifted his head and said, Mama ele wo nbe so mo nba tu. He said, yeah, Mama ele wo ni be so mo nba tu. So jáde má padà wá o, then sọ fáwọn àbúrò ẹ̀ náà kó má wọlé. And I actually did believe that was what he was doing. It was that's like just saying, so
they didn't feel the need to panic because they know that anything they tell you, you buy it. I guess they also calm people, Maybe then the age of innocence. Maybe now we are not so innocent now. Exactly.
I think that now we know that our children, I don't know, Sha. Or maybe I'm just speaking for myself that if a 7-year-old came in like that, I would probably quickly put my leg down and probably quickly cover myself. But they were
Yeah.
just very, laid back about it. My mother didn't even say anything. She just, her legs were still up. My father just said, I'm doing something, I'm busy here. Come back, and don't come back with your, just stay out. You and your sisters, don't come in here. We'll call you when we need you. So it was just a few years ago. I was thinking,
they didn't tell you off for not knocking.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't, because our rooms shared the door. I don't know how to explain it. You know how if you have an ensuite room, and so it's like, let's say like our own room is the ensuite of their room. So it wasn't like the rooms were separate. We had an adjoining door like that that connects both of them.
Yeah.
So yeah. So it was just a few years ago. I was thinking, hold on, my dad was doing this. My parents, they are very,
I know.
So
I know.
My dad had a girlfriend, and she was applying for the role of wife after my mom died. She was actually a doctor, doctor. Let me give her a fake name. Let me look for a fake name. Let me say Dr. Ann Okonkwo. Let me say Dr.
Why do you have to pick a difficult name? A very easy name. Okonkwo. Okay. Like, that is so long. Just give her Dr. whatever, Misika or something. I don't know. Okonkwo.
Dr. Anobi. Dr. Anobi.
Okay.
So, a medical doctor, and my mom had cancer. So, and they all worked in the same organization, Nigerian Ports Authority, but different. My mom worked at Tinkan, and I think she worked in the health center, and my dad worked at different ports. But for some reason, she and my dad got close. I think maybe my dad went to the health center for something, and they got close. And so with her being a medical doctor, so maybe my dad leaned on her about his wife having terminal cancer. I don't know at what point they became intimate. I don't want to know. I don't care. But when my mom died, she became part of the family, as a medical doctor. And my mom was an only child. My mom was an only child. So she just even took my grandmother, my mom's mom, to heart and became my grandmother's doctor, always checking up on mommy, giving mommy medication for her high blood pressure, everything, making sure mommy ate well. My junior ones, I was here at that time. My junior ones, checking them in school, she was really, really auditioning for this part of, the new Mrs. Ajai. And then she needed to come here to Britain on a short course. So my dad said to me, so she asked my dad, she said, could she stay with me so that her ESTA code, that, they will give her money for hotel, for accommodation, that could she save her ESTA code for that? Could she stay with me? So my dad asked me. I said, no problem, because I hadn't met her, but everybody loved her. Mommy loved her. My junior sisters loved her and everything. And so we thought she was going to be the new stepmom, because she was my dad's spec. Chubby, educated, light skinned. That was my dad's spec. All my, that was my mom and his girlfriends that he had that I knew of. That's one that we were thinking he was her. That one too. How he ended up with a dark-skinned, slim, tall person, I don't know. So she was trying to ingratiate herself with me. And when she came, I went to pick her up at the airport, and she was staying with me, and she was really, really nice till she became nasty. When my father didn't marry her, she now really held her no fury like a woman scorn. But at this time, she was really, really nice. And one day she was like, Bumi, your father is such a good man. So I thought, good man as in, I said, yes, my dad is the best thing since sliced bread. She was like, yes, your father is so well endowed. Huh? I thought,
excuse me, ma. Excuse me.
I was like, did I hear that right?
Jesus.
Excuse me.
Or like, share, come of it. You're a woman too. Your father is very, very well endowed. I said, excuse me, I don't want to know that. I don't want to know that. He said, come of it, Ruby, come of it. Daddy Endoyati. Oh God. Doctor, please, this is my father. I really don't want to know about him. She was like, Kilo share, you should be proud. Oh, you are proud of yourself. Daddy, one woman no le satisfy daddy. One woman no le satisfy daddy. Daddy libido very massive, very high. Daddy Endoyati. So back to
Oh my gosh.
God. She made sure that I sat down there. I was like, I'm not listening to this. She was like, Olubunmi, you are a girl, you are a woman. Are you a virgin? You're not a virgin. You are proud of yourself. You are proud of yourself. That dear, who are very well endowed. Otumolo. Sorry, Toba shemi by. To shemi by. That dear, go read that dear. Go read that dear at all. Oh God. Grown. So, dear readers, have you, like me, walked into your parents doing the do? Or have you, like me, been told about, or do you know about how your parents are, let me not say it.
You know what? Like, even as a society, well, personally, I haven't. My dad likes to walk around in his boxers a lot. But at that point, there was no even box. Like, I mean, like Y fronts, like proper, you know what I mean?
Like fella kind of thing. Hold on, like fella kind of thing.
Yeah. Like fella kind of thing.
It must be an Egba thing. It must be an Egba thing. You know, they are both Egba men.
Yeah, maybe, but I mean, my dad, like, my dad had no shame. He would walk, like, not necessarily up and down the house, but in his room, because his room was quite big and he had an ensuite. And a lot of the times, like, if we needed something from him, we might just go knock on the door and he'll be like, just come in, and this man is in his wife fronts. But obviously, as kids, we're not really thinking anything of it. However,
no, even as adults, you still wouldn't. Even as adults,
I know. I feel uncomfortable. Actually, it's an uncomfortable idea. It's almost like okay. So what I do remember, right, in terms of anything sexual context, right, when it has to, I've never worked on my parents. To answer your question, I've never worked on my parents. I've never worked on elderly people, anybody older than me doing something. One thing I do remember though is my stepmom. I remember so my stepmom had a daughter and my dad took the daughter like his own, so my stepsister. And I remember that, obviously she wanted to have a child with my dad, right? Because that's our only child, and now she's married to my dad. And I remember that. That's another when they would argue, right? And they would argue, or how family members would come, when are you going to have kids now? What's going on? Then I remember, obviously, you know how adults really talk around children, but they don't actually know that children actually hear things and listen to things. And at the time, I remember that I think I had to go and ask someone, like, what does that mean? So they were like, Shegun sumo me. And I was like, I didn't know, like, I didn't understand it. Like, somewhere, they obviously want Paris in living room and everything. And obviously children will go and be peeping and, listening in and trying to find out what was going on. And I remember vividly her saying, Shegun kin sumo me, And I remember the family members saying, sumo koe, oh my God, Nigerians, Jesus. But I remember, like, I didn't even understand what sumo me meant, and then I went to, I don't even know, I think the house help was like, it means that, it doesn't touch her, and I think that's the closest I've ever been to imagining, understanding, or hearing anything about my parents' generation.
You sheltered little girl.
Oh yes, I was very sheltered. Oh no, but they used to have, they had the porn. I remember that one. I remember we actually got caught watching that porn.
My dad had.
I remember and it wasn't even our fault. It was the house help. All those house help auntie, but they're not old. Maybe they're like 20, 21. And we were like 7, 8, you know what I mean? And obviously cleaning my dad's room or cleaning my stepmom's room, they'll find these videos and they'll bring. And I remember, like, actually, isn't that abuse? As a child, like, literally
making you watch that. That's abuse now. But what did we know?
Right.
What did
No,
we
but
know?
we
What
were
did
like,
she even know? What did she even know?
she was like
the house girl.
2021. She definitely knew something now.
No, but I mean, what did she know as abuse? Is what I mean.
Oh, of course, she would probably not think it as abuse, but she used to watch it. And then how we got caught was, I can't remember. I think the video got stuck in the VHS. I promise you, video no come out. Oh my gosh, I think she got sacked over this matter. It's not even funny.
Of course she won't get sacked. They did.
Oh my God, I need to call my sister and ask her if she remembers.
They probably just thought it was inappropriate, but they didn't see it as abuse.
Yeah, but we didn't even understand what was going on screen. Do you know what I mean? Like,
my dad had my dad's not coming out smelling of roses in this video, is he? My dad had a stash of pictures and magazines like Playboy and stuff like that. We saw it under his bed.
What's the Nigerian version of Playboy?
We didn't have Nigerian version of Playboy, but we had Lagos Weekend. Lagos Weekend used to be sold on Friday evenings, and it had things like articles like sex erotica, basically, but not like posh erotica, like erotica of local people, like how the security man jumped on the house girl, but it was quite vivid, erotica. So it was, my parents didn't used to let us read Lagos Weekend because of that. It was sold in those days. There was evening times, there was daily times in the morning, there was evening times like Standard is sold in the evening here, and then there was Lagos Weekend. They were all sold by the same company, Daily Times of Nigeria. So that evening times, that weekend times was a bit like that. But coming back to your question, I don't think we had Playboy like that. But one day, I don't know what my sisters and I were doing. We were still very young too, and my mom was still alive, and I don't know what we were doing under my parents' room, and then we saw this stash of pictures and magazines under the bed. My parents were actually quite
kinky, adventurous.
Yeah, 25 minutes now. So thank you if you're still here. If you've enjoyed this, please subscribe and like and share. And what do other YouTubers say? Anyway, thank you very much for joining my cousin and I, Funke. Funke, say bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. So see you some other time. Bye.